Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. Today, I'm joined by Scott Harris, who's the VP of Business Operations at Indicio, to discuss some of the workshops Indicio offers and why we put such an emphasis on a well-trained team. Thanks so much for taking some time to speak with me today, Scott. I'm particularly excited to talk to you because I think a lot of people overlook trainings. They think they don't need it. They think their team just doesn't have the time. And I know that you conduct a lot of workshops for Indicio. So why does Indicio consider trainings to be so important?
Well, I think you started down that road, Tim, when you mentioned the word workshops, right? Well, we often call them trainings. Training sort of seems to indicate a one-way dissemination of information, right? And the workshop is a better way to put it because we think of them as educational sessions, an opportunity to discuss how we can impart our knowledge and experience and help facilitate an understanding of the technology in context for the audience. And that's the key part. Well, we can tell you objective facts about the technology, about specific points of the use cases that we've explored. It's our ability to relate our successes and sometimes our lack of success in deploying decentralized identity tools that drives it further away from being canned content. And that's the important part of the training, is the discussion part.
So it sounds like you touched on it just a little bit there, but I know there's a ton of info already out there, right? There's YouTube videos, articles, all that stuff. What's kind of the biggest thing to attending a in-person workshop as opposed to, Googling and reading whatever you can?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the personalized experience. As I said, this is not a recorded session that you sit and watch and take notes on. It's an open forum. And with that, we try to be as objective as possible. So when you go and Google something, you look something up, there's valuable information to be gleaned out of there, but the chance to determine what that information is or what the valuable pieces are is often difficult, right? So with our trainings and our workshops, there's no messaging that says this is the only way the technology can work, because that would be a foolish message at this stage of the evolution of decentralized identity and its life cycle. And getting locked into a single path, a single platform, and any single way of thinking can definitely blind you to some opportunities, and you'll miss some novel ideas, right, or some ways you can use this. So it's our job to give you the benefit of our experience, paint a picture of the landscape that you don't often get when you just Google or go read articles. The second part of that is the discussion part, right? You can't ask questions of an article. You can't ask questions of a white paper. Sure, you can follow up and send some emails and hope to get some good information. But with Indicio's trainings and our workshops, there's a debate, often a healthy debate, and often some differing points of views that we'd like to and discuss in a friendly manner and go around in circles about to really get at the root of the information that you need to drive your business or your technology the way it needs to go.
So what kind of trainings does Indicio offer?
Well, in short, all of them. We start from the very basics of what is decentralized identity. So if you're coming into this fresh and new, there's an opportunity to learn really what it's about, and not so much from the technical execution part, although we do cover that, but why does it exist and why does it need to exist and what is the value of it in the world, right? And then we go very deep into the technology. We have training on our specific agents, how to use our open source code, DIDCOM protocols, and all of that. And then we have writing for decentralized identity, marketing, and messaging. So we cover the full gamut from all of the technical details and how to actually run a node or implement some of the agents. And then we move everywhere from the executive uses and how to sell this, all the way down to how to have your folks at your company write about it and talk about it, so that you can get engagement and start to build the ecosystems that we know are valuable and can help put this into production and actually realize the value of the technology for the world.
So I loved what you were talking about with the, back and forth that happens in these trainings. What are some of the, most memorable or some of the biggest questions that you get asked during the workshops?
That's a big question, Tim, actually, because there's no typical question. And it's really quite interesting in the intro to decentralized identity training, the sort of gateway to all of this. We often do later in the life cycle of our engagement with many of our clients, meaning that they sort of know they want to be here and they've started down the road of building some solutions, and then they come back and say, okay, let's revisit this and let's really talk again about what decentralized identity means and how it applies to the use case we've already started. And so in that sense, the questions are as wide-ranging as you can possibly imagine, from the very simplest to very technically deep questions. And for that reason, there's no question that's too small or too intimidating for us to try to answer for you. And so that shouldn't be a blocker, right? So if you have a question, don't let that be a reason to not come and ask it. We have everything. It's a terrible ending.
No, I like that. There's no stupid questions. We heard that in school, but I think, it's just it's a good thing to keep in mind is, right, you're not going to know it going in. So
right, exactly. And again, that's the value of our workshops rather than trainings, is that there's an opportunity to have that discussion and ask the questions and say, I know you told me this, or I heard this, and let's really get at the root of it and understand it completely. And that's our job, is to talk about it and facilitate a full understanding as best we can.
So what do people typically come away with once they've completed a workshop with Indicio?
Well, in addition to the practical matter, which is a certificate stating that you've completed the associated training or workshop, that certainly is valuable within the community, particularly at such an early stage in a technology sector where the knowledge is very compartmentalized still. So you do have the certificate that says, hey, I know this and I'm familiar with it and I'm ready to go out and do the work in the sector. You get that certificate, and that's valuable. But more than that, you get perspective and a greater understanding of how the particular piece of the technology meets your needs as a person that's either writing the code or building the product or talking about the product or trying to sell the product or trying to build a business on it. That's what you come away with more than anything, is the context. And that's what you don't get from some of the articles and white papers and things that are out there. Not that they don't have value in themselves, but you come away, we hope, with a much better understanding of where you fit in the universe of decentralized identity.
So getting into the logistics of doing a workshop with Indicio, is there a typical time you should set aside for your team? Is there a typical cost associated with it?
So our trainings start at under $1,000 for up to 10 participants. So we can certainly do a lot of educating for very little money, and they go up from there depending on the content and the length of the session. We have things that are as short and sweet as 1 hour, where we get right to the point about some basics, and we have some trainings that are scheduled to be up to 12 hours in length, where we talk about every manner of decentralized identity, right up to hands on the keyboard and issuing yourself some verifiable credentials. So it does run the gamut, and you can expect Indicio to have whatever you need on our website. So when you take a look through our offerings, there's probably something for everyone to meet your needs. And if there's not something for you, we do custom training, so we can absolutely build what you need, and you can tell us what your team and your organization needs to know about decentralized identity. We'll create that content for you and deliver it personally.
Well, it looks like that is about our time for today. Thank you so much for joining me again, Scott. If you want to learn more about some of the workshop Indicio offers, I'll have a link to our training website down below in the description. And if you're interested in learning more about decentralized identity and would like to, continue to follow the channel, please be sure to subscribe, and we'll continue to bring you more educational content. If you have any questions or specific topics that you'd like for us to cover, please leave a comment below and we'll be sure to address it. Thanks again, Scott. With so much, content already out there, where would you suggest that someone does go ahead and get started if that's what they want to do?
Well, thanks for having me, Tim. The best place to start is our Intro to Decentralized Identity training. That's one of the ones that I deliver personally, and it's the best place to get the understanding of why you want to participate in this, where the business value is, where the technical value is, and how to get started down the right road. And we do that even in two ways. We do a long form session and we do a quick hit 1 hour session to get right at the essence of it. So that's the best place to start, and get your feet wet, jump in the pond with us, and come out and build something great with decentralized identity and verifiable credentials.